On a daisy-covered green off Marley over Honey Lane, behind the chapel whose peeling murals depicted stern, bearded old men and clean-shaven angels. And somewhat to the right of the picture of Judgment Day with its cauldrons, boiling oil and darting devils. Kvakin's gang was playing cards. They had no money, and so they played for backbreakers, flicks and revive the stiff. The loser's eyes were bound, he was forced to lie on his back on the grass, and he was given a candle, that is, a long stick. With this stick he was supposed to repel his kind brethren. Who out of pity for the dead man would do everything they could to revive him by energetically lashing at his bare shins, calves and heels with nettle. The game was at its height when the shrill call of a bugle came from the other side of the fence. Timur's envoy stood there. Nikolai Kolshikov, the staff trumpeter, gripped a shiny brass bugle in one hand. While the barefoot Gika, his face stern, held a big envelope made of wrapping paper. "What kind of circus act is this?" asked the boy they called Figure, leaning over the fence. "Misha," he yelled over his shoulder. "Drop the game, there's a sort of delegation here to see you." "Here I am," said Kvakin, hoisting himself up on the fence. "Higher there, Gika." "Who's that shrimp you've got with you?" "Take this envelope." Gika handed over the ultimatum. "You have 24 hours to think it over. I shall come back for your answer at the same time tomorrow." Touched on the raw at being called a shrimp. Nikolai Kolshikov raised his bugle and, blowing out his cheeks, sounded a furious retreat. The two envoys then departed in a dignified silence under the inquisitive stares of the boys strung along the fence. "What's this, anyway?" said Kvakin, fingering the envelope and looking at the gaping boys. Here we were, minding our own business, and then bugles, threats. "No, fellas, I can't make head or tail of it." He tore open the envelope and, perched as he was on the fence, began to read. To Mikhail Kvakin, chief of the gang for the mopping up of other people's gardens. "That's me," he explained in a loud voice. "Full title and all the trimmings." "And he continued, "Inglorious Assistant Peter Pyatakov. Otherwise known simply as Figure. That's you, he explained with satisfaction to Figure. Sounds good, inglorious. Too high sounding though, if you ask me. They could have called the fool something simpler. And likewise to all the members of their infamous band an ultimatum. What that is I don't know, announced Kvakin sarcastically. Most likely a swear word of some sort. It's an international word. Means they are going to lash us, explained the boy, who was standing next to Figure, a close-cropped lad called Alex. Then why don't they say so, said Kvakin. Now we come to Article 1. In consideration of the fact that you make night raids on the gardens of peaceful inhabitants, not sparing houses bearing our sign, a red star, or even those bearing the star with the black border of mourning, we order you, you cowardly scoundrels. Just listen to how they swear, the dogs, continued Kvakin, forcing a smile. And look at all the fancy words and commas. Boy. We order you, Mikhail Kvakin, and that altogether inglorious individual, Figure. To appear at the place indicated by our messengers at a time not later than tomorrow morning. Bringing with you a list of all the members of your infamous band. In the event of a refusal, we shall consider ourselves at liberty to take any further action we may think fit. What do they mean at liberty? Kvakin pondered. We never locked them up anywhere, did we? It's another of those international words. Means they're going to lash us, the close-cropped Alex explained again. Then why don't they say so? Kvakin said with annoyance. Too bad Gika's gone, looks like he hasn't cried for a long time. He won't cry, Alex said. His brother's a sailor. So what? His father was a sailor too. He won't cry. What's it to you, anyway? My uncle's a sailor too. Cut it out, will you? Kvakin flared up. Father, brother, uncle, what's it all mean, anyway? Better let your hair grow, Alex, looks like you've got sunstroke. And what are you mumbling about? He turned on Figure. We've got to catch those messengers tomorrow and give that Timur and his lot a licking, said Figure sullenly, nettled by the ultimatum. They left it at that. Withdrawing to the shade of the chapel, the chief and his assistant stopped by a painting depicting agile and muscular devils dragging howling and resisting sinners towards the everlasting furnace. Kvakin asked Figure. Look here, was that you in the garden where that girl lives, the one whose father was killed? That's right. What about it? You see, it's like this, Kvakin muttered glumly, poking his finger at the mural. I don't give a damn for Timur's signs, and I can make mincemeat of him any day. Okay, agreed Figure. So what are you poking your finger at the devils for? Because, replied Kvakin with a crooked grin, even though you're a pal of mine, Figure. You're not human, you're more like this dirty fat old beast of a devil.